Welcome back to JTV News. October 29th marked the third year since the establishment of the Autism Center, now called the Disability Services Division, in the Social Development Department. Supervisor of Disability Services Lorna Dawson says the detection, intervention, and treatment of autism has improved in the BVI over the past 3 years.
We have been getting the word out about autism, and so we are having more persons making referrals. All of the children who are referred, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have autism, but very often we find that there's some sort of delay. So we are able to begin to provide developmental therapy and make necessary referrals for follow-up to provide intervention as early as possible. I think some of the greatest achievements that I would say that we have seen is the kinds of progress that we've seen with some of our children. I can think of one child in particular who, when he came to the center for his sessions and you say good morning, if you say good morning Lorna, his response is good morning Lorna. And it took us a lot of doing to get him to the point, basically drilling every time we have sessions with him. And now you ask him a question and he can answer you. He can also ask you questions if he needs something. Initially, he would cry when he wanted something. We took him one time to an outing and we didn't realize he needed water. Now he's able to come and ask, can I have some water, please? So the areas of communication is good. We are trying to learn as much sign language as we can, doing some self-teaching, because we still have those who are not verbal, and between using sign language and what we call picture exchange communication, we use pictures and symbols to help them communicate their needs.
Efforts to assess students' behavior in schools continue by the Disability Services Division. Autism Program Aide Jillian Niles-John says her work often takes her into various schools to help detect and assist students with autistic behavior patterns.
How do you identify these students who need extra help?
We do assessments. Before we do any assessments and screenings, the parents or the teachers, if they notice something with the child, then they come into the center and they speak to us. They do an intake and then we go out and we do a screening, which is called a CARS, which is a childhood rating scale for autism. It's just a screening. And then if we notice that the child has a delay or has an issue in one aspect, then we do other assessments, let's say for example the PEP3, and through that we develop targets and IEPs, and then we continue with the child. We contact the parents and we communicate with the teachers as well, because we can't do it alone. It has to be a connected triangle.
What are some of the signs, based on your experience, that you can share with parents and teachers who may not recognize cases of autism?
Okay, one thing you need to know about autism is that it's a neurological disorder. It focuses on 3 areas: behavior, repetitive behavior, flapping of the hands, and communication. Sometimes the child has no speech, sometimes the speech is impaired, and also social interaction, which is sometimes one of the biggest issues, because some of our students are high functioning. They are academically inclined, so the parents believe that there is nothing wrong with them, but in terms of their social interaction, you have behavioral issues where they can't control their behavior, they need anger management and so forth.
According to autismspeaks.org, autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, and autism are both general terms for a group of complex disorders of brain development. These disorders are characterized in varying degrees by difficulties in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and repetitive behaviors. Ms. Dawson says policy review is being done to improve autism and other forms of disability management in the BVI.
Within disability services, we have the Autism Center. We have BVI Services, which is an adult program day program for adults with disabilities. We also deal with early intervention, trying once we've identified that a baby is at risk, a child is at risk, we try to provide services as early as possible. We also deal with prosthesis clinic. In terms of moving forward, I find this setup, although it was challenging getting going in the beginning, it brings everything under one heading instead of you looking at them, from different aspects. And I think it would help in terms of moving forward the whole agenda for persons with disabilities, improving services and access and everything about them. We're in the process with the ministry working on reviewing policies and getting policies in place that will govern disability. There was some work done a couple of years ago by a local consultant, and we are revisiting and revamping it. So in the next coming months, we would actually be having things to go forward that would actually make it more mandatory, the different services and so that are needed for persons with disabilities.
ASD affects tens of millions of people worldwide.